Right now, one player at this World Cup is a single assist away from a record Pelé set 56 years ago. Not Mbappe, not Messi. A 24-year-old that two English super clubs looked at as a boy and threw away. One released him because he didn't focus in class. The other let him go because his teammates mocked him for having weak arms in the gym. And he walked out humiliated. Both decided he wasn't worth keeping. Now, he's the most creative player at the entire World Cup. His name is Michael Olise, and in this video, I'll show you how a quiet kid from a housing estate in West London got rejected by Arsenal, Chelsea, and Manchester City. How a scout had to fight his own bosses just to sign him, and how the country that developed him ended up watching a rival lift him toward history. Hit the like button early. If the story doesn't grab you, you can take it back at the end. Deal? Let's go back to Hayes. Hayes, a working-class corner of West London. Olise was born there in December 2001, into a family that was a map of the football world before he ever kicked a ball. His mother, Mina, has French and Algerian roots. His father, Vincent, is British-Nigerian. Dad spoke to him in English, Mum in French. And that one detail, a bilingual house in London, decides a World Cup 2 decades later. Because it meant Michael could one day choose between 4 national teams: England, France, Nigeria, or Algeria. He started around 6, playing for hours on the estate with his younger brother. Coaches noticed 2 things at once. 1, he glided, like the game ran slower for him than everyone else. 2, he was silent. He never celebrated. He'd thread an impossible pass and jog straight back for kickoff. Remember that silence. It follows him all the way to the top, and it gets misunderstood at almost every step. Here's where the fairy tale should begin. At 9, Olise was swept into Chelsea's academy, one of the best in the world, and stayed 7 years. Then, around 14, Chelsea let him go. And the reason that since emerged isn't about football at all. According to the coach who'd later give him his debut, Chelsea moved him on because he didn't focus on his schoolwork, because he wanted to be a footballer, not an academic. 7 years of talent ended over homework. Then Manchester City took their shot. Same age group as Cole Palmer, a year below Phil Foden. And City let him go too, at 16. This reason is almost hard to hear. He was physically behind the English boys, thin and still growing, and when the fitness coach called for push-ups, he struggled, and his teammates laughed at him. He felt humiliated, and he left. 2 of the richest academies on earth had him. Both handed him back. And at 16, one of the most gifted creators of his generation had no professional club at all. This is the part that decides everything. Enter Reading, a modest championship club, and a scout named Brendan Flanagan. But it wasn't simple, because Olise arrived with a label. Released by Chelsea, released by City. Inside Reading, staff pushed back. If 2 giants dropped him, surely he's trouble. Flanagan heard the real story. Not a problem child, just quiet, shy, reserved, different, not difficult. So he fought for him. And he tells one moment that says it all. A youth game against Sparta Prague. Olise comes off the bench with 17 minutes left. Within 5 minutes, an experienced ex-pro sitting behind Flanagan leans over and asks, "Who on earth is that?" That was the reaction to a boy nobody else wanted. Reading gave him his debut in 2019 at 17, and then he exploded. The 2020-21 season, 44 championship games, 7 goals, 12 assists, named the best young player in the entire division. Suddenly, the boy nobody wanted had a price, and in 2021, Crystal Palace paid his release clause, around £8 million. The manager who signed him was a French icon, Patrick Vieira. And now the rejection story flips, because in the summer of 2023, one club came back with £35 million to buy him. Chelsea. The same Chelsea that released him at 14, now trying to pay a fortune to undo their mistake. And to nearly everyone's shock, Olise said no and re-signed with Palace. The boy they discarded got to turn them down. His final Palace season is when the world noticed. Wrecked by injuries, he still produced 10 goals and 8 assists in just 18 Premier League games. In 2024, Bayern Munich came calling, around 60 million euros. Reading, to the Premier League, to one of the biggest clubs on the planet in 5 years. And at Bayern, a very good winger became a world force. 15 goals and 19 assists last season, named the best player in the entire Bundesliga. This is why his World Cup didn't come from nowhere. He arrived as the best player in Germany. But we still haven't answered the biggest question. Why France and not England? The honest answer is that England barely tried. Developing at Reading instead of a giant academy, he was off the English radar. As one Reading insider put it, back then you basically had to come from Chelsea, City, United, or Arsenal to play for England. France moved first. They called him up to their under-18s. And Olise's logic was simple and human. They chose me first. You didn't want me when I was younger, so that's where I'm going. England developed maybe the best creative player at this World Cup and let another nation give him a home. The Paris Olympics in 2024 under Thierry Henry sealed it. Olise led France to silver with the most assists in the tournament. Deschamps stopped hesitating. He debuted for the senior side, scored a free kick against Croatia, and 8 days before this World Cup hit his first France hat-trick against Northern Ireland. He arrived not as a hopeful, but as a weapon. So what has he actually done here? 5 assists in 6 matches. The first player with 5 at a World Cup since Germany's Thomas Hassler in 1994. He set up Mbappe against Senegal, got 2 more against Iraq, then carved Sweden apart with 2 in a single match to take sole command of the tournament's assist chart. And now he sits 1 assist away from Pelé. Pelé's 6 assists at the 1970 World Cup have stood for over half a century, and Olise, on his debut World Cup, needs 1 more pass to equal a Brazilian god. France are into the semi-final after beating Morocco. Olise didn't assist in that one, but he won 10 individual duels. Proof he's not just a luxury creator anymore, but someone who fights for the ball. He risked suspension with a booking against Paraguay, but avoided a second yellow versus Morocco, which means he'll be on that pitch in the semi-final, 1 pass from history. But here's what makes Olise different. He almost never celebrates. He rarely does interviews. On a French team full of noise, the most creative player at the World Cup is the one who says the least. Mocked for weak arms at City, labeled a problem at Reading, overlooked by England. And through all of it, he never argued back. He just kept making the pass no one else could see. So here's my question. If Olise gets that 6th assist and matches Pelé, should England's academy system be embarrassed that the best creator at this World Cup slipped away? Or did the rejections from Chelsea and City actually build the player he became? Tell me in the comments. And if you want the story of another player the Giants got wrong, the Norwegian and English club called Broken, that one's already on the channel.